income towards the accommodation provided by the state, even if it's a tent?
Well, people who come to Ireland, they cannot work if they apply for asylum for a period of 6 months, okay? So where we have difficulties in providing accommodation, we put people in the first instance into tents. The vast majority of IPAS accommodation, and I've been around and seen it, is of good quality, much higher than what's in other European Union countries.
Well, HICWA report in March said there was problems with governance, with risk management, with safeguarding. In one case, 6 unrelated adults were sharing a bedroom. Another case, a family of 8 sharing a very small mobile home with 2 newborn babies. If you're going to charge people, they might expect a better standard of accommodation.
Sorry, the fact that we have HICWA going around doing assessments and the fact that I have officials in my department assessing IPAS accommodation shows how seriously we take our obligation to ensure that there is good accommodation available. We have a requirement under the Material Conditions Directive to provide accommodation. That applies to every other European Union country as well. I can tell you, Ireland provides a much higher quality of accommodation than the vast majority of other EU countries. At present, we're accommodating 33,000 people in IPAS. Last September, we did an assessment and were able to identify that there was around 7,600 people in IPAS who could make a contribution because they are working. I think it's reasonable that if somebody is working, that they make a contribution to their accommodation.
OK, the Irish Times reporting this morning that the charges won't apply to people living in direct provision who have been granted refugee status. Is that right?
Yeah, that's correct. And the reason we contemplated that, if you get status and you're in IPAS, you have to move on.
Yeah.
You can't stay there. I'm not in the business of being a landlord and providing accommodation. Yeah. And there's about 5,000 people in IPAS who have refugee status and are moving on. And we've moved on already this year. 4,000 people have been granted status. They're in IPAS and they've moved on. It's got their own thing. And once you get status, you have access to the full range of housing supports available to all Irish residents. So I'm not in the business of being a landlord providing accommodation for people who have status to be in Ireland.
So the people who are entitled to state accommodation have to pay for it, and the people you want to move out of state accommodation don't have to pay for it.
I'm moving them out. I'm moving them out of state accommodation. They're not allowed to.
But if they have to pay for the accommodation, would they not be more inclined to move out?
But David, they're granted international protection on a day. We then give them a bit of time to organise their affairs so they can move out, and they are being moved out on a continuous basis. However, when it comes to applicants, the law is there at present. If you're an applicant and you're working, and very many people who are international protection applicants are working, it's only reasonable that you make a small contribution towards your accommodation costs.
OK. How much is this system going to cost to set up and operate?
Well, the indicative estimated costs for an end-to-end provider are around €1.6 million in the first year, with an estimated annual running cost of approximately €740,000.
So this isn't going to be raising revenue?
That's not the objective of it. The objective of it is to try to show that it's a system that is fair, that if people in Ireland, like if you have somebody working in a shop who is earning the same wage as somebody else who's in an IPAS centre is earning the same, like it's only fair that the person who's in the IPAS accommodation has to make a contribution towards their accommodation.
Yeah. Overall, I mean, you've talked about controlling the number of people coming in. The Tánaiste previously said that we had too much immigration. There does seem to be a change of tone from the government.
I think there's a recognition that although Ireland is an extremely welcoming and generous country, there are limits as to what can be provided. I also think it is a wonderful aspiration to say that anyone who wants to come to Ireland can come and we welcome them in and we will provide for them. That is not realistic. And the only people who can change that, or the only people who can try to ensure that we have a rules-based system that operates effectively, are government ministers. Job falls to me as Minister for Justice, and government yesterday approved some of changes. OK, are we following the UK? We're not following the UK. The saga of immigration in the UK is something that goes on and on. They left the European Union predominantly because of migration, and we've seen that issues have arisen for them in terms of asylum applications there not going down in the way that they expected. But what I will say in respect of the UK is that in terms of the common travel area, there is a linkage in terms of the issues that face us and face the UK. I speak frequently about the fact that very many people who apply for international protection in Ireland come down through the border. When my officials, and I'm speaking to the Home Secretary, they talk about how many people come into Britain through the border over from Northern Ireland coming up from Dublin. So it works both ways. OK, I better let you go because